Hey everybody, I'm Becki Adams. Thank you for stopping by the Scrapbook and Cards YouTube channel today, and happy National Scrapbook Day. I am so excited to share this layout with you that I created using the Let's Scrapbook collection from Bella Blvd. And I also wanted to talk to you about keeping the focus of your layouts on your photos. I have 5 tips that I wanted to share with you here to start things off, and then we'll talk a little bit more about them as we go through the video. So the first tip that I have for you is to print your photos with a white border around the edges. That gives just a little bit of breathing room and makes those photos stand out. The second one would be to make sure and edit your photos. Just brightening things up a little bit and maybe intensifying the color can really make a huge difference on a photo that just is, an everyday photo. You can make it look really great through editing. The next is to mindfully add embellishments, and as I mentioned, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get through the video, but don't overwhelm your photo with too many embellishments. And the other thing that I would say is also to print your photo a little bit larger than your embellishments, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But also, I would recommend choosing a smaller pattern paper, like a smaller pattern, traditionally the B side, more of a tone-on-tone pattern rather than a big bold pattern to pair with to make your photos stand out. So let's jump in and get started creating this layout. So first of all, I just wanted to show you a few of the products that I have with the Let's Scrapbook collection. You guys, the die cut packs in this collection are awesome. They are huge with hundreds of die cuts. And then of course there's the fun little Bella Pops, puffy stickers, chipboard. They've got kind of a new kind of chipboard that is awesome. There's the sticker, the 12 by 12 sticker sheet, and then here are a few pattern papers. And I've already cut into some of these patterns to use on this layout that you'll see in just a minute, but there's so many bright, fun patterns with a really great crafting theme in there as well. So I have a few pattern papers that I have already cut down that I wanted to use on this layout, and you'll notice that all of these patterns are pretty bold, or excuse me, they are not bold. This one that I'm putting adhesive on right now is probably the most bold paper that I have, and I'm actually only going to use this as a border. So I've got this black striped background, and then I'm layering this really bright, bold striped pattern paper. This paper is going to kind of tie everything together. It has all of the colors that I'm going to use on this layout and the colors that are in my photo to make sure my photo stands out. So on top of that, I'm going to put this really fun pink polka dot pattern paper, and you'll notice that I stitched around the edges of all these pattern papers with my sewing machine and black thread. Typically I use white thread, but there is such a fun bold pop of black in this collection that I switched things up and added some black thread. So I'm just placing or adhering these pattern papers together. This yellow kind of gingham plaid paper I am going to use to map my photo. So I have one 4x6 photo that I have printed at home, and just using an Epson PictureMate Charm 400 printer, and I printed it in color. One thing that you might consider on a layout that's very colorful is to change your photo to black and white. Oftentimes that will make your photo really stand out amongst all the colors. Because the colors in this photo coordinated with the pattern papers and the color of the collection so well, I decided that I wanted to keep it in color. So as I mentioned, I've got a 4x6 photo, and I am adding some 1/8 inch foam adhesive strips to the back of the photo on 2 sides and along the bottom. I'm creating a pocket, and I wanted to include 3 4x6 photos on this layout, but once I put all 3 of those photos, kind of laid them out, they were really overwhelming, and I wanted to kind of simplify and just keep the focus on that one photo that just shows the photo of me standing in my office. This was a few minutes before I jumped in and taught a class at Crop and Create. So you may have seen this photo before. That's what this layout is about. It's perfect crafty memories. So I'm just adhering that photo to the photo mat there with the foam adhesive. And by using those 1/8 of an inch adhesive foam strips, it just makes it a little bit easier to get those photos in and out of that pocket. So here are the 2 photos that I mentioned. They're pretty busy. It is showing just the behind the scenes of kind of the messiness that comes in my crafting space after teaching a class, because I've got all of my technical equipment out and then all of my products out, and it just turns kind of into a big happy crafty mess. So because the photo that I printed is 4x6, and then I put those 1/8 of an inch strips on the back of the photo, it made my pocket slightly smaller. So I just trimmed down the edges of those 2 photos, and then I'll slide them right there behind my photo. Here in just a minute, I'll add those because I wanted to add some little embellishment like file tabs so that you can pull them easily in and out of the pocket. So I have my photo in place. I have kind of a spot for my title in place. And then my journaling is going to go on the back of those photos that go in the pocket. So once I have those 3 elements on my page, then it's time to add some embellishments. So I had mentioned earlier to mindfully add your embellishments so that they enhance the look of your photo and not overwhelm it. And there are a couple of ways to do that. One, I only chose embellishments on this layout that are smaller than my photo. A lot of times, in fact, recently there's a trend to have bigger die cuts, which are really fun and a lot of fun to play with. But if you really want to keep the focus on your photo, just consider maybe using the die cuts that are a little bit smaller. So I have a few of these, like, they're buttons with kind of fringe around them, and I wanted to put those along the right side of my photo, kind of weaving the title into it, to just draw your eye from the photo down through the title. So I'm using some foam adhesive squares from scrapbook.com to adhere these circle button embellishments along the page, just from kind of the center top down to the center bottom. And these are so fun. They're not too craft themed. Like, you could definitely use them on a birthday layout, a layout about a party, or even just an everyday layout. But I just thought they were so fun and added just that little pop of color and enhancing the photo. So the next thing I wanted to add was this cute chipboard camera. Of course, cameras are always a big part of our scrapbooking journey and projects. And so I have that cute camera that I added with just a little bit of foam adhesive, and then the cute scissors. I am anxious to do another layout with this collection, actually several more, because there are so many cute crafty elements that I want to use. It's so fun. So now it's time to put my title in place, and you'll notice that I have my title overlapping my photo slightly. So I'm going to use foam adhesive to adhere that title. And one thing that I do, this photo is not irreplaceable. I have a digital copy. I can print another one, but oftentimes I don't like to stick things to my photos if I can avoid it. So I'm just putting that foam adhesive on the right side of that die cut so that it's adhered to the pattern paper on the background and not to my photo. So we'll just go ahead and remove the backing from those foam squares and place the crafty portion of the title. And I used really small, I believe they're a 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit smaller, foam squares on the crafty portion of the title. And then there's a little, the memories portion is a little bit bulkier, and so I added a little bit bigger foam squares just to make it go a little bit faster and to adhere it well. So I'll just remove the backing on those and place that title. And again, I'm just putting that foam adhesive on the right side of the word so that the part that is over the photo does not have any adhesive on it, and that's plenty of adhesive to keep it right in place. So you saw those huge fun die cut packs that I had at the beginning of the video, and I went through those and pulled out a few of the embellishments that I wanted to use. And this fun banner was one of them. So it's an orange banner that just says, "Today is your day to create," I believe. And I thought that was a perfect kind of subtitle for this project because this was definitely a crafty day. Even though I was teaching a class, I was also playing along with my fellow instructors and creating projects with them as well. So I thought about adding some of these puffy stickers that were shaped like flowers that had a button in the center. And I kind of went back and forth. I really thought that I wanted to add them to add a little bit different shape. But when I put it on there, I decided that I just wanted to stick with the circle shape. By adding the flowers, it just made it feel a little bit too busy, and it kind of pulled the attention away from my photo. So that's why I opted against those flower die cuts, even though they were a similar shape. So I'm just adding foam adhesive to a few of these buttons and just kind of scattering them through that line of embellishment that I have going from the top of the page down to the bottom. And I kind of go back and forth, you know, placing these last few embellishments to make sure that I had them, you know, exactly where I wanted them, and that that the colors that I was using were evenly spaced throughout the layout, meaning, you know, I didn't have too many blue buttons close to each other, too many yellow buttons, that kind of thing. And I thought about layering those buttons on top of the other ones, but I decided that added just more bulk to the page than what I wanted, although that would be a really fun, cute look. It just depends on your preference and what the look that you're going for. So I'm just playing around, just doing those last little bits, and then I have those two file tabs that I wanted to add to those photos. So I'm just going to use a tape runner adhesive. You can also use a liquid adhesive. You could staple them in place, however you'd like to. But that is one way that I just kept the focus on that one photo that I really wanted to focus on without losing the focus on that photo. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you taking time out of your weekend to spend with me. I will make sure and have all of these tips listed in the description box below, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for stopping by.